Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and we have details on the 2024 Jeep Wrangler. This was unveiled today at the New York Auto Show. I did a background on it. I did not decide to go to the show. So I have the details for you. So let's go ahead and dive into these details on this Jeep Wrangler. There's some massive changes and some not so massive changes. Make sense? Sort of, right? Let's go to pickuptrucktalk.com. There are 5 things you need to know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through these 5 things. And while I do that, let's go ahead and start with some footage for you guys, though, because, why listen to me when you can see this cool Jeep Wrangler coming up? So let's get this going. And this is the Jeep Wrangler 392. You can see a new 7-slot grill design here in a minute when it comes into focus. We have a new Warren winch on there that has 20,000 pound capacity, 8,000 in that range. It's a pretty cool winch. I'll get to the details in a minute. It's down below in the press materials. So this is the Jeep Wrangler 392. And like I said, so what couple things, the 5 things to know. First of all, the powertrains don't change. So the 392. So it comes in a 6-speed manual, the 8-speed automatic. The 6-speed manual is for the 2-liter turbo and a 3.6-liter only. We have the plug-in hybrid, the 4xe, that's 2-liter turbo. We have the 2-liter inline 4. We have the 3.6-liter V6, and we have 6.4-liter V8. Okay, those are all of the engine choices that you have in this Jeep Wrangler coming up in 2024. Okay. Now, the biggest changes, though, when we get to this, when you talk about this Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, is it has the new Dana 44 heavy-duty full-float solid rear axles. Now, yeah, you can see that grill design a little bit more closely. But why does that make a difference? Well, I didn't have to do a lot of research on this because I want to make sure I have details for you. But so there's 2 different axle types. There's a semi-floating rear axle and a full-float solid rear axle for the Jeep Wrangler. Okay, so the semi-float rear axle has an axle shaft that goes into a flange, and it basically doesn't carry the weight of the vehicle, shifts the weight around, and you just can't carry that heavy of loads with it because it's not made for that. A full float solid rear axle has a massive bearing, and the axle shaft goes in the bearing, so it can carry more of the weight of the vehicle. It can handle more abuse, and it's typically found in heavy duty trucks and commercial machinery and things that are designed to have a lot of weight. It's very durable as well. And so what you have is you can take this truck, add a larger tire, much better. You can allow for 5,000 pounds of towing capacity. And it's something that I think a lot of Jeep enthusiasts were doing anyways for the overlanding crowd to carry that more weight. And so we have this now available on a Rubicon model. The other ones have a semi-floating rear axle. As we talked about, you can see some changes. We have they're showing up the mirror placement there, which is a big deal. You want to be able to leave your mirrors on the vehicle when you take your doors off. For example, that was something that the Bronco did that Jeep didn't have. So there's a change there for you as well. Interior wise, we have changes. We have that new 12.3-inch screen, or the same 12.3-inch screen, is now standard across the lineup. It's standard. There's no small screen, big screen. The antenna is built into the windshield now. So you don't have no antenna rod, and they put it in the windshield. Kind of cleans up the look overall. I know there's a lot of conversations about antennas these days and in the rods. We have a new, new interior, refreshed interior with new materials. There's available 12-way adjustable front seats, the all-new instrument panel with Uconnect 5 system, and standard Apple wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. They also really made a big deal in the background here about how they improved the Bluetooth phone call feature to be much more useful when the tops and the doors are off, which if you've been in a Jeep Wrangler is pretty loud. And so you can't always carry conversation when you're driving with all that stuff off. Plus, they now have standard first and second row side curtain airbags, standard forward collision warning, and standard advanced cruise control going to a full stop. Okay, so those are your changes there. Now, we're going to get to some new models because that's going to be a big deal as well. Okay, this is a Rubicon 4xe X. So it's basically taking the Rubicon, making it a 4xe out of it, right? Which is the plug-in hybrid. You get 21 miles of range when you do that, and you get as I scroll forward for a second, you get 35-inch standard tires. Now, these aren't the 37s like you see in the Ford Bronco Sasquatch package, but they're pretty close. So you get factory 35-inch tires, integrated off-road camera, and steel bumpers in the 4xe, which you get the EV driving, kind of electric driving, quiet off-road driving at 21 miles of range. You have e-save button where you can save the battery until you get to the trail. You can use the battery. That is the new 4xe. Okay. Now, what's also new this year, as far as a trim level, and this is a pretty cool trim level as well. I like this one. This is the Jeep Wrangler Willys Edition, but they've changed the Willys a little bit, right? So they've had the Willys, it's been a trim. They've added larger tires to the Willys trim. They have more ground clearance, higher fender flares, and improved traction. And frankly, it just looks pretty cool. I really like that version as well. So you have the Willys trim has been redone. There's also a Sport 4xe Model 2 with a lower price point that should help drive more people electric off-road adventures with its plug-in hybrid powertrain. So they've announced the plug-in hybrid a couple years ago, and then they've added now the Sport 4xe to get more people into these vehicles at a lower price point. You have, like I said, the Warn winch. There's also a new Trails off-road system that's loaded right in the Uconnect system. You have 62 Jeep Badge of Honor trails. I'm doing my air quotes, Jeep Badge of Honor trails. You can unlock the system to access 3,000 plus trails. Now, this is basically riding with a trail guide with you, right? The system tells you route description, how tough it is, key waypoints for turns, obstacles, and points of interest. That's all built into the system. And it is kind of nice because sometimes the Uconnect system will work even though your cell phone doesn't pick up signal. Now, it's an 8,000-pound Warn winch. I knew I had it down there, 8,000-pound Warn winch, and the Rubicon has the 100-to-1 crawl ratio. So there's also one more thing that's kind of exciting for the Jeep 4xe is that they're going to offer what they call a power box. This is going to feature 4 112-volt outlets with 30 amps of power of total output, allowing the battery pack to charge external devices like cell phones or tablets. So you can be parked and you can plug this in to your truck or to the Wrangler. You can charge your devices without having to run the vehicle, and you have more power output because you're tapping in to that battery pack. It just makes that battery pack, to me, a little more useful. The 24 Wrangler will be available in Sport, Willys, Sahara, High Altitude, Rubicon, and Rubicon 392 models. Ordering is open now. Vehicles start arriving in U.S. dealerships later in 2023. And the 2024 Wrangler will be available in markets around the world. Okay, so you get all of that. And these are some off-road pages as well. So it is just a really cool setup on this Jeep Wrangler for 2024. So did they do a lot? No. Did they need to do a lot? Somewhat. I mean, Bronco came after them about ride quality, doors off with the mirrors, and just kind of an overall competitive distance as far as making things different for customers, allowing them more things. And so Jeep has done this to say, hey, all right, we made it more ride comfortable. We added better seats. We added more comfortable seats. And we went ahead and took off dealt with the mirrors issue. So now the mirrors can stay on when you take the doors off, which is impressive as well. And then we went ahead and did make it Bluetooth is better, so you can actually use it better. The Uconnect system, and we have the trail guide feature, which is pretty cool. I do like that feature quite a bit. And so you have all that now packed into that, especially, and also you have the entry level Sport 4xe, which is great to have a lower price point for that vehicle eventually. We don't know pricing yet. We will get pricing eventually. And so those are the details in the 2024 Jeep Wrangler. So what do you guys think? Did they do enough to compete with the Ford Bronco, or did they still leave something to imaginate, something more needed that they hadn't done before? I am excited to see how the power box works. We're going to see that works. It's probably going to be accessory add-on. Maybe it plugs in. Maybe you buy it from factory. I'm more curious about that, and I'm curious about how cool the Willys is. It just looks pretty cool to me. So there you go. There's the details of 2024 Jeep Wrangler. Make sure you check out videos over here, website down below as well. I'll put the link to that story down there too, so you can read all the details and see all the stuff I've typed up. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.